Good day, guys. So, today we've decided to talk about leadership. So, why is leadership an important skill? And we're gonna talk about why, and then we're gonna talk about how we can develop it. First, why? Because, as John Maxwell says it, everything rises and falls on leadership. What does that mean? Because, to be honest, the lack of leadership can cripple every unit of society, family, community, or a nation. For example, in the family, if there is no leadership in the family, then the children will do whatever they want, when they want it. There will be no order in the house. So leadership is key even in a family setting. And even in the nation, when things like this happen to us, like whatever crisis may happen, when there are people in leadership who are able to lead the right way, think the right way, prioritize the right things to solve, then we're able to bring the nation forward and not cripple it down. So everything rises and falls on leadership, meaning you, me, we have to develop our leadership. Another why is because it doesn't mean that you're good individually in terms of your work. So I'm talking about work and in business. That when you get promoted, you're eventually able to lead a team effectively. Because really there's a difference between being an individual contributor and a people leader. Because you can fully control yourself and create results through yourself. But when you get to the next level of leadership, and when there is a lack thereof, there will be a challenge because you now don't create results through yourself, you create results through people. And therefore you have to know how to lead them, how to speak to them, what motivates them, how do you communicate it to them that it wakes them up to move forward the project or the goals. So these are things that show that leadership is important even in our careers. So for example, there are people I personally have promoted because they were the best salesman. So before I was a sales manager, they were so good at hitting their targets, and so I mistakenly promoted them because they were the best at what they did. But I soon found out that it doesn't really translate immediately, that you're good at what you do, that eventually you become a great leader at it. Because there are other skills that are needed, like how to assess the organization, what are the culture that you have to cultivate, what are the development discussions you have to have with your people. And so what I've learned and what I've been learning from my mentors as well is that you hire and promote people not just on skill, but you really hire and promote people with leadership competency. So functional and leadership competency. So for example, an engineer can be good at what he does, but the entire project management of handling 5 people will be different, I tell you. So again, important that we develop leadership. So that's the why. The question now we answer is, how do we develop leadership? Personal leadership or in our organizational leadership? Number one, the simplest way actually is to find a mentor. Find someone who you respect in terms of their leadership. They may not be totally the same with you in your approach, but there are bits and pieces of them as a leader that you can emulate. The second is, if you like reading books, it would be good to read content on great leadership. Really load up also on knowledge and practice the application. So like John Maxwell is a good author that can really bring you simple, effective, practical leadership competencies. And third, if you don't like reading that much, you can actually do audio trainings. You can do it while you're on your exercise, while you're jogging in place, while you're driving. You can listen to a leadership podcast like Craig Rochelle, or let's say a John Maxwell leadership podcast. They have really awesome content. And then the fourth is, this is simple, apply it in a low risk, high reward environment. For example, like a church or a volunteer organization. Because the best way you can practice leadership is when you're handling a non-profit or a church setting. Why? Because these guys are not paid to work for you. Meaning if you rub them off the wrong way, they can just leave. So the goal is to practice leadership in that setting, in a non-profit or a church setting, so that you can see what are the things that you need to refine in your own development, and that will eventually translate to your career when if you're able to influence people from a non-profit organization, then you can definitely influence people in a paid organization. So thank you, God bless, see you soon, bye bye.